gentlemen, turn your speakers up. It's time for the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Turn up the bass. A podcast discussing all things AEW and WWE. Oh yeah! Let's meet the hosts. First, a man hailing from the Hub City in Indiana. He goes by @TooSweetKyle on Twitter. The host, Kyle Gagliardi. And your co-host, hailing from the Valley of Lake Tahoe. He goes by @JimTuck89 on Twitter. Jim Tucker. And last but not least, hailing from the cornfield somewhere in Indiana, the full-time part-timer, Ian Garavaglia. Turn up the bass. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram @PodOnTheMark.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I'm your host, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi, and one of my co-hosts is my good friend Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Tucky!
What's going on, Kyle? Hope you're having a great day. Good to be back with you, but not just you. We're joined by @HappyIan, @Ian Garavaglia on Twitter, and my nephew, Milo. He's in the studio with us today. Hopefully I can get him to behave. He is recovering from ACL surgery, so I'll chat about that in a second. Ian, what's up, other dog?
I'm still hyped about that new theme song. That new intro's got me pumped up. I don't know if you guys saw me in the bottom there. I was feeling it. I mean, I heard my own name in the intro after what, been a year and a half or so. I'm feeling great. I feel welcomed.
Just on top of the world. Good vibes all around here for OTM. Not a very eventful week in professional wrestling, but there's always stuff to talk about. A couple things from Raw, Smackdown, AEW. We're going to touch on it all as you see Tucky holding his nephew right there. He's getting prepared. He's got his own little one on the way here in a couple months. But let's check into the chat. Kine in the house. He said he's here for some OTM, baby. Robbie Collins also has arrived. He said, hello, guys, NXT. And he also said the dynamic duo and the beer batter are here. Is that your new nickname, Ian?
Not the new gimmick, but I will work on it. I'll work something in. Go to the lab.
Yeah, that's fair. Robbie Collins said, cute dog, by the way, Tucky. And as you can
Yeah,
see,
can't claim him. He's a handful and a lapful, literally. We're gonna get through it.
Yeah, we'll definitely make it happen. That's why we have three hosts on this show. But Ian, you weren't with us last week. We recorded on a Sunday, which is different. Usually we're doing it right now, Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. So you didn't really get to speak on CM Punk's WWE return. I think it's very fitting to give you the platform. Give me your thoughts as a whole, your shock levels, all that good stuff. Let's hear it.
Go off, Queen.
Okay, so shock levels, obviously. I mean, it was goosebumps. It was a goosebumps moment. They had the copyright emblem at the bottom there with the WWE copyright symbol, and then you still heard it. You heard the and I jumped up. I was ecstatic. My only gripe about it, and I know that the backstage kind of police are going to keep him in check. I'm not worried about that. I don't think he'll be a cancer to the roster. I think he's there for good reasons. My only issue with everything is, do the other people in the locker room appreciate him coming back? I mean, obviously, we know the whole thing with Seth Rollins. Who knows if that's kayfabe? Who knows if that's real? But I'm hoping they're able to actually work from it. I know Seth is a professional. Yes, Tuck.
I think that's where it is. I think he genuinely doesn't like him, but I also think he enjoys making money, and the art of storytelling and sports entertainment. I'm here for that a little bit.
I mean, it's a main event. It's a WrestleMania main event right there. I don't know where they're going to go with CM Punk now, though. I mean, you have some time until WrestleMania. Obviously, he needs to get back in the ring before he shows up at WrestleMania, or maybe not. Maybe they just keep him away for a while. But I mean, I'm ecstatic about it.
Yeah, I think we all are. And you obviously know what Tucky and I thought. We shared our thoughts last week on episode 172. Robbie says he's talking about your pinned tweet that you have right now, Ian. He said, CM Punk will kill AEW. To be honest, I was excited to hear Ian's thoughts since he's probably the biggest AEW watcher I know. Ian enjoys both products. I want to put that on record.
No. I absolutely hate WWE because I like AEW. Yeah, I enjoy
AEW might kill AEW.
That is also true. I think there's a whole conversation about that in itself at this point.
And you had the opportunity to talk on the Last Week in Wrestling podcast with Dylan. That's his name, correct, Dylan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I tuned in for a little bit, so it was cool to see you venturing off and going on the other shows. It's not just me going on SCW Wrestling Channel now. Ian is making his way through the podcast, and you're also going to be on another podcast, I believe, coming up, correct?
That is correct. I'm going to be battling Kine, and that's really all I'll say about it. Stay tuned because it's not going to go well for Kine. This guy's been doing so much research, and I could cut a promo on him, but all he's going to do is take about 30 minutes to type up some stupid promo he found from the 1980s and just copy paste it. I know, but good luck, Kine. Good luck, Kine.
Good luck to you, and good luck to you making your debut on the Turnbuckle Talk Zone, which is a part of the Main Event Wrestling Network.
Kind of a dope name. I like that.
Yeah,
the Turnbuckle Talk Zone.
Yeah, they were kind of workshopping it with us for a little bit. Obviously, a lot of names are taken. You know, there's so many wrestling podcasts out there, but I think they found a good one there. Like I said, though, they are part of the Main Event Wrestling Network. Like us, make sure you're following the network at @mainevent_net. A lot of exciting things coming up here in 2024. And of course, don't forget to check out all the wonderful merch that we have. It's the holiday season. You know, I had a quote on there about Buddy the Elf or something like that. You know, he used to say, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud to all to hear. Well, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is buying OTM merch for all to wear. That's my opinion.
Ooh.
On the MarkWrestlingPodcast.com, like I said, use promo code DEADLINE. That is the main reason why we are here, because NXT Deadline will be happening this Saturday. I won't be watching live, but I definitely will check it on the replay. Tucky, Dirk Vogus wants to know if he can have your autograph next year after you win the Chicago Marathon.
Come on, Dirk. You already know. I think I gotta make up a couple spots. I think the last time I ran it, I wound up in about 6,000th. So I got a little bit of work to do, but I should PR'd on Sunday in Sacramento, 9.5 minute PR.
Hey now.
Tucky was cooking. I did it all by myself too. Mista stayed home, wasn't feeling well. A little nervous about the trip over the mountain in the winter. I was also very nervous. That weekend went well, but yeah.
You obviously survived because you're here now, and you got Milo with you. So
oh yeah,
life is good over here. So boys, let's get into it. Like I said, we're gonna hop around from one thing to another. Let's go back to last week, Friday night SmackDown. And on SmackDown, we got that announcement that there will be a United States #1 contendership tournament to determine Logan Paul's next challenger. Now, here's the names that are going to be in this tournament. You have Santos Escobar, Dragon Lee, Karrion Kross, Bobby Lashley, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, an unnamed NXT star, which I find very interesting, and of course, Kevin Owens, who was the one to confront Logan Paul when Logan made this announcement. Now, when you see those names, Tucky, Kevin Owens probably stands out more than the rest, especially knowing that Logan Paul is a heel and KO is working babyface.
Yeah, a lot of compelling names there. Karrion Kross, what's that going to look like? Grayson Waller, what's he going to do? Santos Escobar, how's this heel run going to go? And Dragon Lee's already in it, and he could have been the one you thought was the NXT guy too. So I'm also interested in who they're going to call up. Do you have a prime pick?
I think it's either Carmelo Hayes or Trick Williams, because right now those two seem to be the biggest names right now in NXT. That's a thing that actually I got to give some credit to Denise Salcedo. I was watching her Deadline predictions, and she talked about how, you know, star heavy NXT is on the women's side of things right now. There's a lot of interesting prospects, but really other than Trick and Carmelo, the men's side is kind of lacking. Ian, I know you don't pay too much attention to NXT, but do you agree with what Denise was saying?
I agree to the point. I mean, the name that's kind of mistaken here is Braun Breaker.
Sure. Right.
But if you're introducing Braun Breaker like this, I don't think that's the way to do it. Because obviously he's an established star. He's shown what he could do in NXT. I don't think just kind of throwing him in a tournament just to kind of show off his skills. His real point and his biggest showcase is, I mean, his character work. The guy is a menace. Throwing him in the ring just randomly just doesn't feel right to me.
Well, Kine actually disagrees with you. Shocker. He said he hopes it's Braun, to be honest. He'd love to see him go up and cause havoc. Best spear in the business. Sorry, Roman. And it looks like Tucky fulfilled Robbie's request. Your title was a little crooked back there.
I'm getting worked here. I've had a long day. I'm in the middle of a college paper right now. I had to stop to do a podcast. I got a dog with a busted ACL and my title's tilted. Jesus.
He's literally playing tug of war while doing a podcast. You can't make this stuff.
Is like map out a Thursday. This is it. Like I'm living, boys.
Thirsty Thursday over there in Lake Tahoe. I love it. Yeah, but speaking of Karrion Kross, Robbie brings up a good comment here. This is a massive chance for Kross to not win the tournament, but build a story with someone outside of the tournament. And Tucky, Kross, he's had his moments on the main roster, but I think consistency has been a big thing because you heat them up for a couple months and then they seem to just take them off TV.
Yeah, and the origin story, the why, the chase, he's intriguing, noir. He's got Scarlet about him, but I think it's pretty important the next step because we're getting the boy that cried wolf here, kind of over and over again. Milo also not a fan of Karrion Kross expressions recently.
Yeah, I don't think he's a guy that's going to win this thing. Ian, is Kevin Owens the obvious pick for you as well, or you got a wild card in mind for this?
I don't even think it's a wild card. I think Bobby Lashley has a good chance. I mean, what better way? I mean, he's obviously got that kind of like push right now from the crowd. They don't want to turn him heel. The crowd doesn't. And obviously, I don't blame them because this is probably one of Bobby Lashley's last runs. And you can't hate the Street Profits. As much as you want to, they're hard to hate. So why not give Bobby Lashley a little run here, even if he doesn't win the title? But it's just kind of weird to me. It's like if there was one person to dethrone Logan Paul, we talked about it.
Yeah,
it was LA Knight. So that's kind of what I'm thrown off about with this whole situation. But again, Kevin Owens or Bobby Lashley would be my choices.
And tournaments really aren't a thing that WWE does often, so I am looking forward to this. I don't know if this is just because they're doing the Continental Classic in AEW. Probably not. But,
well, you've got 9 weeks to the Rumble, or since 9 weeks between pay-per-views, it is kind of a built-in why. Like, why do I care? Whoever wins gets one step closer to it. I get it. I don't know how I feel about the Continental Classic.
Yeah, that's funny because I was going to ask you about it when we get to AEW. So let's put a pin on that thought right there. But let's pull up Kine's comment. He said men's side is lacking. He names Braun, Eddie Thorpe, Dijak, Ilya, Von Wagner, lots of talents. Wesley too, but he's MIA right now. So best wishes for his recovery. Yes, I agree with you there about Wesley. But just to nitpick a couple names, Eddie Thorpe really hasn't found a character in NXT. I don't find him to be interesting. Dijak, he's great in ring, but I don't think he's a main event player. And of course, Ilya Dragunov is a name that I definitely forgot. We know how good Ilya is. We've seen what he can do. But yeah, I think my pick's got to be Kevin Owens for this United States tournament. I don't know if he's going to dethrone Logan Paul. I think it's a great match to have at the Royal Rumble. And it seems like, Tuck, we always do those Royal Rumble predictions. Isn't Kevin Owens always in a title match at the Royal Rumble?
He's never in the Rumbles. He's always doing something else, it feels like. So I wouldn't be upset if he ended up in the Rumble. I don't think he wins.
Actually, now that you bring that up, it's usually for the U.S. title as well. Because I think he had obviously he had the thing with John Cena.
He had a thing with Roman for the world title, I think 2 times.
Oh, that is right. Well, wasn't I know they had the open challenge when Kevin Owens first came up for the U.S. title. Mm-hmm. And I want to say he defended that title at Royal Rumble after that when he won that title. But I could be wrong.
Sure.
The whole spiel.
It definitely, that is how he debuted. So yeah, it could have been the case. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody in the comments can correct us. I believe this is Ryan Matthews in the comment section. It says Matthews Sports Analysis. He said, "Give me Carmelo Hayes. I wouldn't hate to see that." Kine throws out Noam Dar. He's unreal in the ring and has an amazing character. Yeah, that's fair as well. But Ryan's also saying that KO is injured. He broke his 4th and 5th metacarpal. Yeah, that's how you pronounce that right there.
Wrist,
is that
right?
true? Have you seen anything about that, Tuck? I know you're
What?
subscribed to Fightful. The Kevin Owens injury, is that a thing?
I'm not up to snuff on that.
Yeah, I'm not
much.
sure
I'll do
either.
some research.
Also, Kevin Owens was in the Royal Rumble in 2020 and 2022. So
Okay. Yeah.
faced Roman last year,
Yeah.
and then faced Roman in 21 as well. So
So it
Rumble
wasn't back-to-back.
2020 Rumble, Roman Reigns 21, 22 Royal Rumble, 23 Roman Reigns.
Yes. Maybe we can add Logan Paul to that list.
Yeah.
I have an update. Don't know if it's kayfabe or not because it was WWE that broke out the news and it kind of they put it with a video package. So update: Kevin Owens has sustained an injury, fracturing his 4th and 5th metacarpal during Smackdown last night, and that was on the 1st, 6 days ago.
So yeah, that is what Ryan was saying as well. Robbie said he's seen one report he was injured, wasn't sure if it's true or not. Yeah, we don't know for sure if this is just storyline related or not, but
it's an easy one to
he
fake.
is healthy. Yeah, it is an easy one to fake, but if he is healthy, I definitely think he probably will end up winning this tournament. But we're going to get a lot of cool, exciting, fresh matchups out of it, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the big thing that closed out Friday Night SmackDown. The biggest story of the night was both Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis trying to do their best to sign Randy Orton. And as SmackDown went off the air, we had Randy and LA Knight fighting off the bloodline, and then Randy Orton picks up that pen, puts it to the paper, and he signs officially with Friday Night SmackDown. One would assume going forward now, Ian, that Randy might be involved in the bloodline story, especially leading into the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and I think this is inevitably, I hate to say it. My prediction went from obviously Cody and Roman at WrestleMania for the title. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a triple threat with Randy. I really wouldn't. We obviously know the background with Cody and Randy. I just don't know how they get there. I could see this being a Royal Rumble match, but why throw in LA Knight? That's another question I have. Why is he still around that title? I'm not sure, but...
Well, LA Knight did say he was not finished with the bloodline. He made that clear.
Right. And I hope it's not for the title. Maybe it's just a fight against the bloodline, kind of like what they're doing with the Judgment Day over on Raw, where we're fighting against the big faction, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet.
Tucky, how do you feel about Randy signing with SmackDown? Was that the right choice?
I do think it was the right choice because that gives him an easy into that storyline. I think it just makes more sense because Nick Aldis and his whole pitch was, I can give you something that he can't, which is the bloodline. And I like the way that they kind of tied it up on Raw on Monday with Jay as well.
Yeah, and now that Randy's officially with SmackDown, you have CM Punk showing up on SmackDown tomorrow. I think it would be too top-heavy for Punk to end up going to SmackDown, so I would assume CM Punk's going to end up on Monday Night Raw. But Kine's also saying, not to mention, Heyman was trying to convince Randy to go to Raw. This shows Randy's going to probably face a Bloodline guy at the Rumble, and he'd love to see him and Solo Sikoa in a street fight, both straight violent. Yeah, there's a lot of fun and exciting things, and it seems like Randy Orton has been rejuvenated since he came back to the WWE. Haven't you noticed that, Ian, for his brief appearances on TV?
Yeah, and I listened to the Impulsive podcast when Randy Orton was on it, and he talked about that. Again, another guy that's in the latter years of his career and probably his last run. He just came off the injury, and he talked about it. He feels blessed to be back. And he's not taking it for granted. He's not here just for the money. He wants to do it for the fans. So it's a cool feeling with a guy that's always been he's been the apex predator. He's always been a killer. Now seeing this side of Randy, it's rejuvenating for us too as fans.
I agree, and he's definitely reached that status of legendary when it comes to being, a superstar in the WWE. So everybody's gonna love him no matter what. And like Robbie was talking about too, the Impulsive podcast that he was on with Logan Paul, that he was glad to be on SmackDown. Kind says that Randy's going to be placed in the story considering he was taken out of action by the Bloodline Makes sense to go after them. Big story for his return. We love it. And obviously, if that match does happen, Tuck, I don't think Randy Orton is going to be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns, but that still feels like the biggest matchup you can set up at the Royal Rumble.
I think so too, and I think Randy is good enough, and they can create a match good enough to make us think that that's a possibility at times, i.e. Miz and Gunther. I don't think Orton is as much of a long shot as I considered the Miz, in my opinion, but there were moments during that match where I thought, like, oh, it's happening. So, and I think we can get that, which is kind of what you need on the night you're trying to figure out who's going to head towards Roman, probably with the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Kind said, hold up. What if Randy takes the belt from Roman, and then for Randy's final ever run, he loses it to Cody, the protege of Orton, a former faction of Legacy, helps him finish the story. While that does make sense, and I do like it, I don't think it fits the current story they are going to be telling going forward. Right, Ian?
No. This is leading to Cody beating Roman. People could keep making up new WrestleMania main events, but they've been talking about it since last year's main event ended, and people were walking out of the stadium. It's going to lead to Cody beating Roman at WrestleMania 40. There's no other way to go with it, unless you could add people to the match, but it's going to be Cody pinning Roman.
I don't want to see a triple threat or a multi-man match.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But let me put you guys in the hot seat. Say you're the one that's booking WrestleMania, and The Rock comes up to you. The Rock's saying, hey, I want to work Mania. John Cena's schedule freed up for a little bit. Hey, John Cena wants to work WrestleMania as well. You're still putting Cody Rhodes over John Cena and The Rock?
Over John Cena, definitely. Over The Rock, yes. Because his story has a longer term impact, I think, than a Rock one-off. Roman doesn't need the title for that match to sell out a stadium. Roman versus The Rock.
I will say the one time I was actually okay with Rock having one of the main events was when we talked about Roman maybe losing the title the first night, and then the head of the table kind of title being faced against Roman the second night. That was cool with me, but that was also before we've had everybody return, and there's a stacked roster. There's even talks about Stone Cold coming back.
What?
Just for a match.
There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen right now, and a lot of potential cooks coming in. I mean, I'm just throwing out those names. I don't know if they're actually going to show up, but I just wanted to propose that question. But that was pretty much it from SmackDown. Let's move on over to Monday Night Raw, where Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn had a very heated promo to kick things off. And from the massive reactions that, Sami keeps receiving, it seems like Drew's leaning into this heel persona. It kind of felt like this was the perfect storm. And I think, Tuck, this was a great match to start things off. And obviously, as we know later, Drew and Jay still aren't finished. So, I mean, talk to me a little bit about what you've been thinking of Sami Zayn. I feel like he just continues to ascend up the card.
Isn't that crazy? Wasn't he supposed to be done in like March? Like Elimination Chamber was a swan song. Okay, give him the tag titles. And somehow he's still white hot, and whoever he wants to fight, you're on his side because he yells a lot and what he says makes sense. I am rebellion. I will stand up. I will. And you're like, yeah, you will, Sammy. And you're not the most jacked person I've ever seen. And I relate to you and I want to root for you because I see myself in you. You're just like, he's just kind of a tough-nosed brawler guy, but at the same time can just pull out a complex match. And a compelling story at the same time. And then Drew is now giving me personally something to care about. He's just not the Scottish good boy anymore. I'm just this strong, psycho, crazy guy. He's not. He's got a plan, a mission. He's got reasons for what he's doing. And so that makes Drew infinitely more compelling to me as well.
I will say, Drew McIntyre has been really surprising. Obviously, I've wanted a heel turn from him for a long time because, like you, Tuck, I did not like the forced babyface, I'm a killer kind of thing, Scottish killer. Like you said, he has reasons, and every reason makes sense. There is a reason for him hating against the main event group of with Jay and the Bloodline and Sammy. Now Sammy's trying to step into it. I like it. I love what he's doing. He's kind of that tweener stage, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you could say that. We got a couple comments rolling in. Kind said, if The Rock main events, Punk leaves. We've seen it before. The fact that Dwayne is main eventing WrestleMania and I'm not makes me sick. Don't run it back, Hunter. I don't think he will, Kind, but I just had to throw that out there. He also went on to say that he does not like Sammy one bit. He hopes Drew crushes him this feud and Sammy becomes a main event Saturday jobber. You know, we always got Kind to keep it real in the chat, don't we, Tucky?
No doubt. He pulls very few punches.
That's for sure. Him versus Ian this weekend is going to be electric. Robbie said Sammy's still being up the card as a W. He's a great mic worker, to be fair, and he doesn't give up. He's that underdog, smaller guy who will just take beatings and always bounces back. Very similar to 2014 Daniel Bryan, in my opinion, Ian.
I am glad you said something because I kind of draw similarities from Stone Cold when he was against Vince McMahon. That entire situation of anti-authority, you're not going to control me kind of situation, and he knew there was something kind of like a scheme going on against him. That's kind of what I draw similarities from.
Yeah, we got Brett Haskell saying, I want Broken Dreams Drew back. I think we all do. That song, especially with him being a heel, would just be chef's kiss. Kyan goes on to say, imagine blocking someone on Twitter for calling you a ginger as a grown man, Sami Zayn. All right, Kyan, we get it. You're stoned. You don't like Sami Zayn. I'm not pulling up your comments. We're keeping it positive over here. Positive vibes only. Robbie agrees, though. He said he wants Broken Dreams back as well.
Don't read his next comment, by the way.
Okay, I will not. Yeah, I see what he's saying right there. We're not going to pull that up, Kyan. Kyan, you might not win the MVM just for these, atrocity of takes right now. There were other solid matches, though, on Monday Night Raw, guys, but we don't need to talk about everything. So let's fast forward to the actual main event between main event Jey Uso and Seth Rollins. It was very fitting that Jey Uso got this opportunity because I believe 14 years ago to the date is when his uncle Umaga passed away. So very cool that he got this world title shot to main event Monday Night Raw. But to be honest with you guys, both men used everything in their respective bag, to try to put each other away. Uso even resorted to using Roman Reigns' spear in this match. You had Rollins using the pedigree, but eventually it was the stomp that secured the win for Seth Rollins. He and Jay shake hands, but before we get into what happens after the match, Tuck, I know going into it, we probably didn't assume that Jey Uso was going to, win that title, but I think it delivered as a main event.
A main event on TV. We got that for free. It gave you something to watch. It was like, I'll stay up late for this one. And I thought, again, anybody up against Rollins in his back, the way they push it, you're always like, we think back to that Raw that happened and that one memorable Raw that thing happened. And I think they do that less now, like those big moments. And but you still kind of always hope for him. And I thought Uso, I wouldn't have been surprised if he had won, but I didn't give him much odds.
Ian, I know you didn't get to watch this match. Obviously, the result isn't shocking by any means, but you got anything to say about Jey Uso?
I just want to say this. While you were talking and while you were speaking and recapping what's happening right now, my brain just flicked a switch. Imagine this. I'm going to do some fantasy booking really quick. I do it every single time, but here we go. We got Drew McIntyre and Rollins for the title at the Royal Rumble. Drew McIntyre wins that title. Rollins has CM Punk to fall back on. Rollins snaps. He turns heel, which it's been kind of sneaking a little bit. Faces CM Punk, who is obviously being cheered on. You're not going to hate CM Punk right now as a WWE fan, especially in the arena. Rollins versus CM Punk is set up. You also have Drew McIntyre with the title. I don't know who he faces, but I want to ask you guys, if Drew McIntyre wins a title, if that happens, who do you guys want to see him face at WrestleMania?
Gunther. Ooh. Run it back, right, Tuck? Why not?
What title are we talking about for Drew?
Rollins'
he
title.
Wins Rollins' title.
If he wins Rollins' title, I'm currently building the NXT form, so that's why I'm like, hey, quick question. Who do I want to see Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind Gunther, but I might start with something a little bit more mid cardy, just to establish him. I would at Mania though.
At Mania, I'm thinking Jay, right?
Hey,
But
Yeah,
you
but
have
Jay
the
and
Jay
Jimmy
versus Jimmy.
seems,
I know.
Yeah, that seems inevitable.
That's the thing that's holding me back. I don't.
There's
Solo.
a lot of bullets in the chamber, man, that they can pull.
a lot of
Solo.
good. Okay, how about Bronson Reed? I'm out.
All right.
I'm out too if that happens. No disrespect to both those guys.
Hey, sorry, bud. No thanks.
Yeah, we don't want that one. Kind said Punk's the guy who's going to dethrone Seth. Main event night 1. Jey Uso gets his moment. Main event Uso. Yeah, that is probably in the cards going forward. Yeet, Robbie says, we cannot say that anymore. Wasn't expecting Jay to win, but I just really want Rollins' reign to be over, not enjoying it anymore. Now, I did say that a couple months ago, but I think, honestly, over the past few months, a little bit of steam is behind Seth Rollins. Am I alone on that take?
He's getting to the Roman Reigns kind of aspect of who is going to defeat him. He's had a broken back basically for the past year, and still no one could beat him. So it's getting to that point where it's weird. I that's what I'm saying. I don't know who's going to beat him. That's why I threw the Drew McIntyre story out there. But
I agree with Kine. I think it's CM Punk. My boy Brett's in the chat once again. I didn't know he even watched Monday Night Raw, but maybe CM Punk has brought him back in. If so, welcome back, Brett. He said, I'm glad Drew didn't interfere. That made the match much better. Knew Drew was going to be involved after how the night started. Uso looked light years better than the last time I watched. And to be clear, the last time Brett was watching was the year that CM Punk left the company. So you go from Jey Uso, who's just a twin in a tag team, to main event Jey Uso. It's a drastic difference. Kind City and fantasy booking is actually so unreal. Guy's got a smart brain. Generally got some of the best ideas I've seen for an AEW enjoyer.
don't try to butter me up now.
Is he gaslighting you?
Yeah,
He's going
don't
to
try
work.
butter me up.
He's going to work.
He's going to work. He heard me say he's not going to win the MVM, so he's changing his tone.
Yeah, he's running it back. He's working.
Robbie gave you a W as well. He spelled your name Juan, W-A-N, with the W bookings. The boys are cooking.
Not even next to each other on the keyboard. The W and the I, they're not very close.
Quite opposite, really.
He's just giving Ian another W. So they liked your fantasy booking there, Ian. So shouts to you. But after the match, we did see Drew McIntyre. He came out of the crowd and ended up attacking Jey Uso. I don't know if that's going to be a singles match at the Royal Rumble, but it's obviously something that might be teased during the Rumble match. And like you guys said, Drew McIntyre's reasonings for going to the dark side are valid because Jey Uso was a part of the issue with the bloodline. So I'm very much looking forward to the future between those two. Tuck, did you have something to say? I thought
Nope.
I interrupted you. No? All right, you're good. You guys want to move on to AEW? Got anything else from the main roster?
That's all I got.
Let's do it then. Let's go to AEW briefly. There's some things I want to talk about with Dynamite. Number one being the tournament that is currently going on. This has been talked about a lot in past episodes, but have you guys been enjoying it so far? Because from my viewpoint, the matches seem very predictable. Yes, we are getting great in-ring action. We are getting new matchups, Ian, but you got guys like Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal going up against these titans like John Moxley, who are always going to be at the top of the card. To me, it just seems too predictable for me to be fully invested into it.
So the way I see it, we talked about this last night on our watch along. So if you're not following our YouTube channel, by the way, come check out our watch alongs. We do them live every now and then, very sporadically. But talk about AEW last night. I don't mind them. I'm tuning back in a lot more recently live with AEW, and it's because I'm seeing good wrestling. Mainly because of Swerve Strickland, because that guy's kind of a dog. But at the same time, like you said, with they have a jobber in the tournament with Briscoe and
I
AJ
wouldn't
Lethal.
call him a jobber, and I didn't put those words out there. I would say they're talent enhancement.
Fair. Okay. So I don't really see him as that. With Jay Lethal, I think he's kind of going through his own thing. Commentators have mentioned it. He's being held back by his little faction with Jeff Jarrett's faction. And I think we might be seeing a face Jay Lethal at some point soon. And a guy like Mark Briscoe, I think he has some time to kind of branch away and solidify himself as a single star. which I think this tournament was made for. And another guy like Roosh. Roosh is good, and he's still pretty young. He has a long ways to go in his career, and he could be a big time player in AEW.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Tucky, have you been enjoying the Continental Classic so far?
It's fine. Like I still feel like we're kind of like early until we start seeing who wins these leagues. Like I'm not dying to see every match because there's a lot left. So like to me, it's like it feels like there's a lot to do here. The matches are good though. I've enjoyed the matches, but I'm not like tuning in. Oh, I got to see the Continental Classic tonight, guys.
And I think that's the thing with this tournament and AEW is it caters very specifically to the AEW audience who love professional wrestling inside the squared circle, Ian. Because if you go and do this in the WWE, I don't think it has the same effect.
Well, and it kind of really, like I talk about Swerve, and it really solidifies who can talk backstage. And like the promo, we saw Moxley and Swerve have an interaction for a minute on TV. And I don't know about you, but I am very excited for the match between Moxley and Swerve next week. Yeah. I'm going to be tuning in for that match. And because obviously stories drive people to want to come watch a match. And just their little interaction just showcased how important that stuff is. You can't just, like the women's talent, you can't just throw them in a ring and say, hey, tonight we're going to see them face each other. No one's going to care. It might be a good match, but no one's going to care. But it's, like I said, it really solidifies people like Swerve that could talk backstage in 30 seconds and really make his mark and make you tune in.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point. Robbie has an AEW question, though. Who is Abaddon and why is she creepy as fuck? Ian, you got an answer for him?
So Abaddon actually had a little push way back when, 2020-ish. She was one of the OGs in the women's roster. She was a lot on Dark and showed her face on Dynamite before I think she hurt her knee or something around there, and then never got her push back. But she could be good. She is pretty talented in the ring, and she has a creepy character, which you actually believe. Like you said, she is creepy.
Yeah, she definitely is. Robbie said that the live stream over on the Main Event Wrestling Network flung me right back into AEW. He's really invested in Timeless Tony and MJF now. Just another masterful performance from Timeless Tony, right, Tucky? I don't know if you got to watch, but I thought it was tremendous.
I love when they have those spots where she's looking at the hard cam and they put the gray overlay filter like in the middle of the match because it's a TV show. Like on a pay-per-view, I think it might be a little kitschy, but like it is just something unique. I am in love with this character and finding all the references and allusions. The match was fine.
Yeah, the match wasn't anything to, talk about, but afterwards, of course, Riho returned, which I don't think any of us are Riho guys, right?
No.
No.
Got her ass.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that being talked about a lot on Twitter. It was like, you have Timeless Tony, who is just this extraordinary best character they have in AEW, and then there's her opponent, Riho, who, what's Riho's character? Anime?
She's Japanese, yeah. That's about it.
Somebody tried to make a pitch that, she's just an anime character. So she's a character playing a character with no character.
That's dude playing another dude. Yeah. They really just try to link onto the fact that she's the first AEW champion. But if you look back at that roster, besides Britt Baker, which they should have put the title on her back then. But yeah, it's...
I got a wanted poster out there for Britt Baker right now. She hasn't been on TV recently, and I would like to see Britt back on my television screen. But in the main event, of course, of AEW Dynamite, we got to see Adam Copeland take on Christian Cage for the TNT title, which was honestly very surreal to me. Not just getting this match, but getting it in a company that if you would have said 10 years ago, Edge and Christian are going to have a one-on-one match, I would say it's in the main event of WrestleMania. No, it's just happening on a random Dynamite in Canada, Tuck. I thought the match was solid. Obviously, what happened for Christian to retain is what got the people talking, though.
And that was what I expected as well. I didn't expect Edge to win, unfortunately, because everybody loves the chase. Ian.
I really wish the TNT title wasn't a part of...
We got dogs barking back there. He's muted. We're good.
I don't know about you guys, but I really wish the TNT title wasn't a part of this. I don't think it needs to be a part of this. It's kind of like,
We're getting him screaming in the background too. I love it.
but it's I don't like the idea of them putting it on a random Dynamite and then just kind of wasting it. I get it. It extends it, but now you have another tagline of this show is going to be main evented by Edge and Christian, and maybe it's World's End. I don't think it'll be the main event.
I think let's get these dogs out of here, Fred Haskell said. I think it could main event. I mean, obviously MJF, Samoa Joe probably will.
Yeah, I think that has to main event. So that's kind of what I'm worried about with the whole storyline. I don't want people to get tired of it. I like how they introduced kind of a new character with Nick Wayne's mom.
Yeah.
I liked the move. She might not be good at acting because I knew as soon as she got in the ring, I'm like, oh, she's hitting Edge. I mean, it's not even close. But I like what they're doing with it. Actually, again, I say it every single time I come on the show. They reference it on Busted Open. They need to do like Christian marrying Nick Wayne's mom or something along those lines. I think that just adds a
wedding.
Oh my God, that would just add a cherry right on top of the cake there.
We talked about it too on the watch along, how we didn't feel like it was time to pull the trigger and get the title off of Christian Cage, and I'm glad he retained. I didn't see Nick Wayne's mom getting involved in this thing, but you can't forget what happened a couple weeks ago, right, Tuck, where Adam Copeland took the chair to her son's head. I mean, it's a warranted reason to do what she did.
Yeah, and I'm kind of here for it because it's a fun layer. Nick Wayne just absolutely living in the ring. Christian Cage, Adam Copeland, Sting. Like, what a fun story. I like the Edge and Adam Copeland story from AEW.
Yeah, and I'm glad, like I said, that they're going to prolong this. It seems, whether that be at World's End or they keep it going into early 2024. It's definitely something I think they should hold on to because there's a lot of juice to squeeze there since we haven't seen it in 10 or 15, 20 years, however long it's been. And I'm going to pull up Kyne's comment because I haven't pulled up a comment in a while. He said, using Edge versus Christian on a random show is such a waste of potential great feud, man. A PLE main event, co-main event right there. Ian, I think you disagree with that comment.
So before the show, I completely agreed. I didn't think there was going to be a winner, but I would not have been surprised if Tony Khan just said, Edge is the new champion, or Copeland's a new champion. Would not have been surprised. I would have been really pissed. Like I said, it just kind of feels weird because now that you say you had that we all saw the picture of Edge and Christian, that kind of like card of Edge versus Christian for the first time on Twitter. And it's a really cool, it's surreal to see. Now we're going to be seeing it again, and that's going to be their next selling point. It's like, oh, there's actually going to be a winner this time. It just kind of feels weird to me. I don't know how they get them back in singles action to make it feel as big as it did.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And Robbie said, I think you said it, Kyle, the whole show was based outside of the ring. There was a lot more time based outside the ring than inside. Yeah, I guess countouts weren't a thing for this Continental Classic, but I don't know if Tucky, do we want to do a little karaoke to this comment right here? Nick Wayne's mom has got it going on.
Jeez.
We tried, guys. We weren't in tune.
No, not in tune.
That was tough. Yeah. Well, and you never know with the lag too. Like, should I go? There sounds a little bit behind. Are we on time? So that's tough sometimes.
If we were in person, we would have knocked it out of the park. Correct.
Oh, absolutely.
Harmony. Come on, a 2,000-mile harmony. Get out of here. Come on.
Yeah. See, guys, we have an excuse. Kyne said, though, he'll be honest. He doesn't watch AEW, so he doesn't know what happened or how it builds onto the feud. Just from a blunt idea from an outsider, it seemed like a waste. Yeah, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, Kyne. I get it. No worries. But anything else from AEW you guys want to chat about? Are we ready to get into our NXT Deadline predictions?
Let's go NXT.
They do.
Tucky, I think we got a Google form filled out, don't we?
Yep. NXT Deadline, bit.ly/NXT Deadline. First and last name. Social media handle. I put YouTube on there too because sometimes we have some interactions from YouTube.
Social security number.
I only need that from the winner. The social security number. license number and expiration date. There's just a few other details, and then once I have that, I'm not going to send you anything. So.
Yeah, and if you do fill it out, you're going to end up losing to me. As you can see, I got it on my shoulder already. I am Mr. OTM. I am Mr. Main Event. I am Mr. NXT. Yeah. What do you got your hand up for? Oh, you're acknowledging me. Okay, I'll take it. He's still in the house, by the way, Tucky. The house always wins.
Wow. Except for last AEW show, I lost. Not great.
Ian, what happened there, Ian?
Not great. I lost by 2. Not a great showing. I went two cards in a row, back to back, flawless, and then I choked really bad.
Yeah, you got pumped.
Yeah, not great.
Get fucked, bud. Robbie said he's coming for that NXT title. Good luck to you, Robbie. I respect you.
Who is the AEW champion?
Isn't it a random on social media?
Oh, so that's the Vogus retain.
No.
Yes.
Vogus is not the champion.
Wasn't he?
No, it's a guy that filled out the form. He's following us on Twitter.
Before that, Vogus was the champion. He was tag team champions with Maria.
With Erica,
Oh.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he beat Erica's card. He was the next lone.
Oh, okay.
He would have been the next. He had the second place card. That's why I said he's kind of retaining because who? And that's why on the bit.ly/NXT Deadline, you will be providing your social media handle and account so we can get in touch with you to let you and verify that you're a thing.
Yeah. You got to be an actual person, not a bot, and somebody that somewhat pays attention to the show. I don't know if that follower does.
We're not going to say it was a bot because we got hacked and got pumped by a computer then, and I don't love that.
Yeah, true. We got a Brock quote here from Kine. He said, "I'm coming for that title, Kyle, and I'm coming harder than I've ever came before, and I won't stop until I came and took it." It's not Tuesday, but he's definitely celebrating something over there. Let's get into NXT Deadline then, boys. Let's start off with the man of the T-shirt I'm wearing. It's Carmelo Hayes taking on, formerly known as Brian Pillman Jr., Lexis King now in NXT. This is Lexis King's first match on a PLE for NXT. I am the champion, so I get to go first. I think Lexis King is going to pull off the W. There is a lot going on with Carmelo Hayes right now. He's under a lot of scrutiny. Is he the guy that attacked Trick Williams? We don't know for sure quite yet, but I think shenanigans are going to be involved. Lexis King finds a way to defeat Carmelo Hayes, and what would be a huge first win for him, Tuck.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm going Lexis King. There can be some shenanigans on the part of Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, that kind of thing. There's a number of ways that Lexis King can get the win, but I think he's got a win in his debut, but I also think Carmelo has the argument for a W to remain strong. I lean towards Lexis King at this moment.
Kine's trying to correct me. He is actually wrong, so don't ever come in here and try to correct me when you're the wrong guy. He said I spelled Lexis King wrong. I look at my documents, okay? That is the correct spelling for Lexis King. Get fucked, bud. Ian, you're up.
All right. I'm agreeing with you guys. Again, I have not been totally up to date with AEW, but I will be making my educational guesses for tonight. I'm going with Lexis King as well. I think if you're building a heel and he's brand new to the company, I think he needs a win to make him stronger, not just a talker, because that can only take you so far. Because Lexis King can talk, we know that. And like you said, with Carmelo Hayes, he has his own stuff going on, he has his own feuds to fall back on. So I think he's fine.
I wonder if Carmelo is main roster bound soon. I feel like he's done enough in NXT. Tuck, don't you think it's time for him to take that next step?
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I don't need him in NXT anymore. But again, what is he going to do on the main roster? He's somebody for NXT. Does he get lost on the main roster? Because the main roster is pretty loaded.
It is.
I love the idea of putting him with Bobby Lashley in his group. I mean, that's money right there because Melo is money.
That is true, and that is a great idea. I would love to see that if he were to get called up. And if you're watching live, let us know down in the comments who you're going with in the matches. And don't forget to go to bit.ly/NXT Deadline to fill out your predictions. And if you're even watching this on the replay, sound off in the comments section and let us know your picks. Robbie says he's going with Lexis King since it's his debut match. Melo's going through a lot of stress right now. So, yeah, he's in agreement with us as well. So is Kine. He thinks King beats Melo, gets the momentum. He's my guy, future WWE champion. Ooh, okay. That's a hot take, but maybe. Never say never. Let's move on then to a steel cage match. This rivalry has been heating up over the past couple weeks between Roxanne Perez and Kiana James. I'm excited they decided to put a stipulation on this one.
Hey, shout out Mista. Shout out Mista.
I was going to say Mama Mista in the background. What's up?
That was Augie's debut on the podcast.
Just so many dogs making their debuts. You love to see it. I know I might have caught you off guard since you're distracted, Tucky, but for the steel cage match, who do you got coming out on top?
I'm going Roxanne Perez. I don't have a why.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm not included. I'm not tuned in enough for this one. I'm excited for the show, but this one, man.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I stand as well. I will be watching Deadline, but I really don't know what's going on with this. I saw their segment. I believe did they have a match Tuesday against each other?
They were involved in the match to get that final spot in the Iron Survivor Challenge. Yes.
Okay. I think Roxanne's. I mean, she's obviously going up. Not to the main roster, but she's been moving up in the card, and she is on fire. And I think there is a lot of future to build with Roxanne. So I will go with Roxanne because that's really I don't know Kiana James too much from an outsider perspective.
Kine said Roxanne takes the win. She's deserving of it. One of the best in NXT, and he's glad that Nikita Lyons made her return on Tuesday. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So another big star in the women's division. Robbie Collins is in agreement with you guys. Going with Roxy, need I say more? He's loving Ava Rain in her role as Shawn Michaels GM. Roxanne is going to take the win on this one. Kiana is a bum, and this is where the champion's advantage comes into play. I'm going with Kiana James to pick up the win here in the steel cage. And hear me out. Robbie Collins is the one that pointed this out. When they did that summit segment with all the participants in the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge, there was a QR code on the podium. That QR code took you to someone's voice that sounded exactly like Cora Jade. There is speculation that Cora Jade is set to return very soon. And guess who her biggest feud was in NXT? With Roxanne Perez. Cora Jade finds a way to get herself inside that steel cage and helps Kiana James to pick up the win. I'm going with the heel here. I think that could be a potential match WrestleMania weekend, Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade. I think we all would be in it on that one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Very.
So, yeah, I'm going to differ with the majority here, and I'm going to go with Kiana. You guys are going with Roxanne Perez. Let's then move on here to the North American title match. This obviously was supposed to be Wes Lee's spot. Unfortunately, he's getting back surgery, so best wishes to him once again. But Dirty Dom's set to defend his title against the main roster's Dragon Lee. They've had matches before, Ian. This one for the title, do you see it going in a different direction, or is the strap going to stay with Dirty Dom?
I just want to say this. I'm glad I got this one first out of all the matches. I'm going Dirty Dom, and I don't think it's really even close. I mean, it's going to be a great match. Not saying that, but I don't think there's any decision. I mean, it's a late substitution. However, I do think that this could turn into a feud because this could be something that Dragon Lee could use.
It's kind of been a feud already on the main roster as well. If you've been paying attention, Dragon Lee has been kind of billed as the next great luchador under the wing of Rey Mysterio. And obviously Rey and Dom are still having their feud. So it makes sense from a storyline perspective, but I just don't see the title changing. If Wes Lee was in this match, maybe cousins of Dragon Lee, I don't know. They have the same last name. But I have to go with Dirty Dom to retain. If it was Wes, like I said, I'd go with Wes, but I think they're going to keep the strap on Dom here, Tucky.
I'm going with Dirty Dom as well, but I don't know that this is the only match that these two have. I think you have the Dragon Lee Rey Mysterio connection. You can come back to that, and Rey Mysterio appearing on NXT does what for the brand? It can't hurt it. I think this is another great match that Dragon Lee is the overwhelming underdog here. But it's also a great opportunity for him to showcase his style and build his brand. He got a pop when he came back.
He did.
So he's building his following, and he's a good worker.
Yeah, he also had a match at Survivor Series, which he killed it at too, and the crowd was actually, very behind him too when I was in there in attendance. Robbie said it will be a fantastic match. Can't see Dragon Lee picking up the win though. Am I led to believe Ray will be in Lee's corner? Maybe. What if Santos Escobar shows up too?
Yikes!
I'm pretty sure that Rey Mysterio is in his corner.
Did they announce that?
I believe so. I thought that was on the card. I will look it up. I'll do some research.
Maybe I missed it, but yeah, if Ray is going to be there, I have a feeling Santos Escobar might be there as well. So maybe there's shenanigans going on in this one as well. Kind said the strap stays with the MVP of wrestling this year. Dirty Dom keeps his reign running alive. He's feuded with Dragon Lee, had beef with him. Banger incoming. Dom takes the win.
I can confirm it is Dirty Dom Mysterio with Rhea Ripley versus Dragon Lee with Rey Mysterio.
Does that change anybody's pick, or are we all still going with Dom?
Still the same, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all going to stick with Dom then. So we got 3 more matches to talk about. Listen, I know this match style happened last year, but I don't remember how it works, and I'm not going to look it up and see how it works. I know there's a point system to it. Let's get to the women's Iron Survivor match. You have Tiffany Stratton, Lash Legend, Blair Davenport, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley. Before we get into the actual match, guys, how about Lash Legend? I've been ripping her on the podcast, and I've said bad things about her on Twitter, but that body slam to Otis was something.
I mean, the fact that she picked him up, like he kind of jumped into it, as you should, but she held him for a little bit and lifted him. It was incredible. That clip went viral, and for good reasons.
Tuck, that's the kind of stuff that can really get the ball rolling for someone like Lash Legend.
Yeah, it made me say "oh" out loud, right? Like, oh, okay. I don't love the yelly part of her gimmick, so I'm not falling in love with the character quite yet, but the ability certainly there.
There definitely is something there, but I guess I have to go first here. This one is kind of difficult for me. I mean, and you have to look, obviously, at the champion right now, which is Lyra Valkyria. She is a babyface. So I'm assuming the person that's going to win this is going to be a heel. The heels in this match, Tiffany Stratton, Lash Legend, and Blair Davenport. So automatically, I'm counting out Kalani Jordan. I think she's got a high upside, but it's not her time. I'm counting out Fallon Henley. I'm a big Fallon Henley fan. Also not her time. Tiffany Stratton's had her moment in the sun. I don't know if you need to put her right back into the title picture just yet. Sure, Lash Legend had that moment on Tuesday, but I don't think she's ready for the spotlight quite yet. So it's a process of elimination for me personally. Blair Davenport, established, was well known in NXT UK, great heel. I think she would be the perfect challenger for Lyra going forward. And don't forget, Lyra also has Lola Vice waiting in the wings. She has that contract. She could cash in that contract at any time. So there's a couple challengers lining up now for Lyra. But for me, I'm going to go with Blair Davenport to win the Iron Survivor Challenge.
Interesting pick. Just because you made that pick, and I not the pick I'm making. Yeah, I'm going Tiffany Stratton just because I like her the most of these 5. Interesting match. The order of entrance is timed, so if you get pinned, it's a 2-minute penalty, so you don't get to wrestle for 2 minutes. You have to sit out, and you want to collect points by pinning others. So you want points, and you want to stay out of the penalty box. The advantage of coming in last is that you're the freshest, but you have the least amount of time. The advantage of starting first, the first 2 is that you've got the whole match to rack up points. So a lot of layers and some good storytelling that will happen in these matches. I'm going with Tiffany Stratton because I think Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria will be a banger.
It definitely would, and I forgot about the penalty box. I think that is a cool addition to this match. I know last year I enjoyed it, so I'm sure this one will be good. Before you go, Ian, let's pull up what Robbie's got to say. He said Blair Davenport as well. This is definitely a few women who could win this. I absolutely love Blair, though, and would love to see her win. So he's in agreement with me. Kind said he's a huge Kalani fan. Kalani plus Kind, don't forget it. She's taking the W, the future of WWE. Okay, interesting pick. Ian, it's your turn, though. Who you got?
I am also in agreement with Tucky here. Tiffany Stratton's a name that always pops off the page. You can throw Tiffany Stratton with anybody, and it's going to be a banger. However, okay, so what is the time limit for this match then? How long is this match going?
I don't think there's a set time limit.
No, there is. Once all entrants are in, there is a timer because at some point it's got to stop. But there's not a point cap.
That is weird to me. Okay, so I think Lash Legend's coming in last second. She's the bigger girl and can just start pinning everybody. The monster last second.
Yeah.
However, I think it's Tiffany Stratton. I think, like I said,
25
you can build
minutes.
Anything. Oh, jeez, this thing can go for a while.
We're gonna cook.
All right. I'm excited for these matches. I didn't even know about these things, so cool.
And so 2 superstars start every 5 minutes. A new superstar will enter. You want the most falls when the clock hits 25 minutes. Falls can be won at any time via pinfall, submission, or DQ. When the superstar scores a fall, they will earn a point. When you lose a fall, you have to pay the penalty. They're forced out of the ring into a penalty box for 90 seconds. Then they can re-enter. The superstar who has scored the most falls when the clock hits 25 minutes will be named the Iron Survivor and become the #1 contender.
Well, there you go. If you didn't know,
Fun.
now you know. And now I know. Robbie asks, here's a question. How many fruit roll-ups are we going to get in this Iron Survivor match? I'm going to say there's going to be a couple roll-ups. I'm going to go with 2. Kind said, for my betting man, I'm taking 4-1 odds on both the over, under 4.5. So they definitely think there's going to be a lot of roll-ups in this match. Robbie said, did Jaden Perez not start fighting in the penalty box last year? I'm sure they did. Yeah, I believe that is correct. I almost forgot that even happened. This
is the second year, right? So they got into the first one, and now they've had a year to stew and cook on some maybe different ideas and concepts too. Should be cool.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going with Blair Davenport, and you guys are going with Tiffany Stratton. So we got 2 more matches to talk about. This one for the NXT Championship. Ilya Dragunov taking on NXT version of Baron Corbin, who's been basically repackaged. I've been liking what they've been doing with him. Tucky, you get to start us off, though.
I say Ilya retains. And I don't know why a lot. But I think it'll be a great match. I'm just not sold on Baron Corbin being the NXT champion. I don't know if he has enough stock, which is weird for me to say he's a main roster guy. I know he's a great worker. I just think Ilya Dragunov is a star. I drafted him 3 years ago, and wow, what a guy!
Yeah, you did draft him. I almost forgot about that. That was a fun episode for
Baron
sure.
Corbin undrafted, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I made sure with Ian off the record, but I'm going to put it on the record now. You are a little laggy on our end, Tucky, just a heads up. I don't know if the people watching live right now can notice it, but on our end, you were a little laggy there. But I believe you went with Ilya Dragunov, correct?
It is Ilya, yes, sir. I have 47 tabs up in the middle of this paper.
Well, that might explain it, right?
Yeah, we're asking the computer to do a little bit more tonight.
Fair enough. Kind said this match is going to be crazy. Both men are going to go all out. Ilya retains the title. Corbin just doesn't seem to be the guy to be the next NXT champion. Ian, would you agree with him?
Yeah, I think Baron Corbin is down in NXT just to be that spoiler and kind of to be that coach in the ring. And he's doing a great job with it because he's also reinventing himself at the same exact time. It's going to be a banger of a match, and I'm excited for it. I don't think Ilya is... I mean, I imagine he's pretty young in the moment, probably not in the wrestling scene, but he could be big time for the main roster at the same time. So build him while he's down here in NXT. Have a great match with Baron Corbin. Maybe keep the feud going as well.
Yeah, maybe. Robbie said Baron Corbin, man, what a revival. His gimmick is absolutely fantastic. I'm really enjoying his work right now. Him and Ilya's feud has been worked to perfection. And that is something that I definitely wanted to touch on, what Robbie is saying. I've gone on the record saying that I'm not a Baron Corbin guy. I'm still not a Baron Corbin fan, but real recognize real. And I think the good thing about this new Baron Corbin is this is the real Baron Corbin. He is shoving that he has everything he could want in life. He's got a beautiful home. He can buy whatever he wants. He's got a gorgeous wife, but he hasn't won the NXT title. And that's really the story that they're telling here. He's trying to put Ilya and push him over the limit, but Ilya just won't snap on him quite yet. He's saving it here for NXT Deadline. I'm actually really excited for it. Needless to say, I think Ilya Dragunov is the slam dunk pick to retain here. Probably my most confident match going into this card. Regardless, should be very good. But it seems like the only issues with the lagging were on our end, Ian, because the comments are saying he's fine. So that's good. That's good news.
That's fine.
Good to know. So let's move on to the last match from NXT Deadline, the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge. You have Dijak versus Trick Williams versus Josh Briggs versus Braun Breaker versus the big strong boy Tyler Bate. Ian, I believe you get to go first here for this one.
That's tough. I think at least 3 of the guys have a reason to win this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to kind of build up Braun Breaker if he goes up at the main roster, and that's the only reason I'm going to choose him. I'm just going to let you guys discuss because I'm not a huge NXT watch-along guy. So go ahead, Gags.
Hey, Tuck, I'll let you go before me because I probably got some more reasoning. Unless you want me to go.
Oh, thanks for just letting me go next. Wow, what a guy.
Do you want me to go? I'll go. I'm just saying I probably got some reasoning.
I'm going with Trick Williams.
Okay.
Any reasoning behind that?
He's Trick Williams.
Top guy.
He's Trick Williams.
Whoa, Trick.
He's so hot right now. I don't go with Braun because if he wins #1 contender, then they put him in that title scene again. I don't think he needs to be in the title scene before he goes up. I don't know that he needs another run, and I don't care to see Braun versus Ilya Dragunov personally. That's why I go Trick Williams. Something new, something spicy. Ilya, Trick, let's get it.
No disrespect to Josh Briggs. Not for 1 second am I picking Josh Briggs. He's one half of a tag team. It ain't going to happen. It ain't your night, Josh. Maybe one other day. Dijak, man, he's so talented. He's a heel. Once again, I'm going to look at, who's the champion. Ilya Dragunov, babyface. So Dijak winning makes sense. But I believe Dijak's already had a crack at Ilya Dragunov. So I don't think Dijak is the answer. Braun Breaker is very appealing for obvious reasons. We know how big of a star he is, and we know that a match with Ilya Dragunov would be great. And to be honest with you guys, I think Tyler Bate is eventually going to be the one to dethrone Ilya Dragunov based off of their history that they have over in the UK. But I don't think it's Tyler Bate's time. I am in agreement with my co-host Jim Tucker. I am going with Trick Williams. It's just going to add another layer to the story we already have going with Trick, Lexus King, and Carmelo Hayes. Trick keeps putting himself at the top of the card. Carmelo's going to get jealous, and I think that's where money is to be made. So I am also going with Trick Willie here. Ian, you now get to decide.
What? I already went.
He already picked Braun Breaker.
He did. I thought you were counting out Braun Breaker. My bad.
No.
What a weird little that. He makes his pick, and then you let me go next without thinking that he made his pick. Then you go and then ask him to go back.
Let me tell you something. I got a lot going on my end. I have to pull up everything.
Oh.
I'm not writing a paper right now.
Oh. Neither am I. That's a problem.
Dad, quit fighting.
Wait, Tuck's your dad too?
Yes. Uncle Tuck.
Uncle Tuck. Coach Tuck. Robbie said Ilya could be the guy on the main roster. He's only 30 years old, still a young guy. I'll take it. 30 being young, I'm 30. We love it. He also said he's been really torn up for this match, but he thinks he's going with Dijak, and it seems like Kyne's agreeing. I love Dijak, but I just don't think it's his time right now. Okay, so he doesn't agree. I'd love to see him win, but not yet. It's going to be Braun or Trick. Trick makes sense for the story. Braun would be awesome for the matches. Yeah, I totally agree with that last sentence there, Kyne, but I'm going with Trick Williams. Tuck's going with Trick. And Ian is going with Braun Breaker to be the men's Iron Survivor. So that pretty much does things for us here on our end. We went through a lot tonight. Appreciate you, Robbie and Kyne, stopping by. It is between you two when it comes to the MVM, but we already discussed who our winner is going to be, and we have an new MVM of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, Robbie Collins. Tough battle tonight, huh?
Just two dogs going at it. You'll love to see it, unless you're Mike Vick. That would be a problem.
Oh, God. Oh.
Mike Vick, yeah. Let's just not go there. Let's just not. There was a lot of dogs in the background when you were doing the podcast, so it's a sensitive subject right now. Let's see if he's got. He's saying that my goat Robbie. He's supporting Robbie, so you love to see the friendship blossom there between Kine and Robbie Collins. But guys, I think that's about all we have for him. Unless you guys got anything else other than check out the merch and all that good shit.
That'll do it. bit.ly/NXT Deadline. Don't forget to visit that. Get those picks in. Love a good NXT show. Another reason to order pizza. Am I right?
Yeah, I can never say no to pizza, Tucky. But what are your toppings?
Okay. Standard like sausage pepperoni. I'm good with that. Here's a sneaky one. Pepperoni, jalapeno, pineapple.
Okay.
Yes!
What is up with you guys and pineapple?
Somebody. At least somebody agrees with me.
Pepperoni, little bit of spice there, a little bit of seasoning. The jalapeno gives it a little bit of kick. The pineapple balances it out. I am not crazy, but you are welcome.
I will be trying that.
Yeah, dude.
I would never. I'm not a pineapple on pizza guy. I had pineapple today as a snack, but not on my pizza.
Now that's weird.
Eating pineapple by itself is weird.
Yeah, that's
Is eating a banana by itself weird too?
No.
Nope,
not at
you
all.
don't put banana on pizza.
Exactly.
You could.
You wouldn't.
Dessert pizza.
I will just say before we close out, be sure to tune in on Sunday for Turnbuckle Talk Zone as I murder Kine and I move on over the ocean.
What's the start time for that?
I don't think it's live though.
We're going to find out. I really don't know.
Okay. We
Showing
have
up at noon
details forthcoming in that regard.
Eating pineapple by itself is amazing. Stop it, Ian and Tucky. Thank you. It's not weird. That's just completely normal.
No.
We could take back our votes. We can revote MVM.
We could, but I would just say, why don't you take us home instead?
Fine. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you visit onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com for all your merch needs. Enter code DEADLINE for 10% off. Make sure you follow the Main Event Wrestling Network at mainevent_net. Make sure you follow that because you're not only getting the goods from OTM, but the Turnbuckle Talk Zone along with other content creators. And it will be live on Sunday with the dismemberment of Kine by Ian. Is that right? Is that what?
Yes.
Okay. The dismember to remember, some would say. Thank you for listening. Make sure you head over again, bit.ly/NXT Deadline to fill out those picks. We got to take that gold off of Gags because that guy stinks. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.